welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody, for our LSU softball Baton Rouge regional tournament preview here on the Fishbowl Radio. In addition to that, we're going to talk about LSU baseball, and they're getting ready for they're trying to make it, right? So they got to beat Ole Miss. We'll see what happens with all that. We hear with how the SEC tournament is and how it plays into. They're right there on that bubble for the NCAA tournament, so we'll talk about all that here in this edition of the Fishbowl Radio. So without further ado, let me introduce everybody to my co-host here, Jalen. How you doing today, Jalen?
Hey, I'm doing well, Chief. And when it comes to LSU softball, hey, how about them Tigers?
Hey, they went on a good run against in the SEC tournament, finishing close. They had a top four finish, basically SEC semifinalists. They ended up losing to Missouri here. Great game against Alabama. They, heck of a pitching performance there. I mean, what else can you say there? But, that's in the past. They got in. They were just a little bit short of being one of them top 8 seeds where they would have hosted a super regional. They ended up being at number 9 there. But look, it's not a bad spot, honestly, because we're going to look at these percentages of how these regional tournaments do here. And, it's kind of interesting metrics once you look at it. And we'll break it down for the Baton Rouge Regional. So LSU on day one has an 82.3% chance. Now, this thing's going to change. They have it in a chart. We will post this on our Facebook and Twitter pages because I find this to be interesting data. And they probably adds all kind of metrics in there that it takes a math whiz to figure all this stuff out. And I am not a math whiz by any stretch of the imagination. But LSU, Cal, Southern Illinois, and Jackson State is in the Baton Rouge Regional. Southern Illinois is an interesting 11.1% here, but looking at all the other regional seeds, you don't really see anybody that has over, like, if the lowest I see so far is UCLA, but I see Florida State's the lowest at 69.8% because they have Auburn and UCF, they're both over like 14% or higher in their regional. Texas A&M is like in that kind of a bad spot too. They have Texas State and Penn State. Texas State won the Sun Belt Conference tournament, and they ended up beating the Cajuns. And they're hosting a Lafayette regional as well. They're at 91.4%. So I predicted the Cajuns to win if you listen to our Raging Cajun podcast, I predicted the Cajuns to win. I thought they were going to lose the game, but as far as the LSU regional, Southern Illinois looks like it's going to be a competitor for the Tigers. Jalen, how you view this going out?
Well, I'm gonna just say my pick for the regional. Obviously, I'm gonna go with those LSU Tigers. I don't see much of a fight out of Jackson State, or you never know. It could be because what you said, they have a 0.1% chance of actually winning the whole thing, the regional. But I'm gonna give the Tigers the win in that one. I think it would be the Tigers and Cal in the regional final. Ultimately, though, I think the Tigers are also going to sweep through and just win outright the Baton Rouge region. I don't see them losing a game.
The one thing that bothers me about LSU is their hitting. Are they going to produce enough runs to actually win this thing? Because the offense has been stagnant. Even in the SEC tournament, it wasn't really as glamorous as you would make it out to be. Honestly, if you're looking at that situation, because they ended up they beat Tennessee 2-1, Alabama 3-2, Missouri they lost 1-2 in 8 innings. So it's not like they played very high level teams. The last time they scored over 5 runs in a game was that May 4th matchup against Liberty, which, I mean, it doesn't seem like a long ago. It's only 10 days ago, but it was against Liberty, RPI of 39, which you're going to have these bigger, like, moments like this you got to get ready for. So with that, let's see. I want to look at these auto bids real quick here. So looking at all that there, the Tigers are, in a very good spot to actually, win this regional. I think they'll end up winning the regional here. But, Southern Illinois is sitting right there at 11.1% or over 11% because they've had a good run so far. I want to see how this thing's actually going to look here. Let's see how the schedule looks for this tournament. Now, look, they got rain on the way. Rain's going to come in probably Friday, Saturday, depending how it goes. Thursday might move some stuff around. So right now they got it scheduled with LSU's gonna be playing on the SEC network for those that want to like watch the games. Southern Illinois and Cal or ESPN Plus here. They're gonna start this at 2:30. LSU's gonna start off at 5. Because this is all Eastern time that they're giving you here. Southern Illinois is live RPI is 45. They're 9-1. They're 1-1 in quadrant one, 5-4 in quadrant two of RPIs. But they ended up beating Texas State at the beginning part of the year, and they're a top 25 team. So I mean, they're definitely somebody that you got to keep an eye out for. But they haven't played a lot of highly rated RPI teams. Um, like I said, they're 1-1. That was against Texas State, so it's kind of like I think that they probably will drop that game. Like I said, the metrics are gonna be kind of weird, just based on who you have here and like the level of competition you played. Like Cal, on the other hand, is a 10-14 quadrant one record there, and they played the Cajun beginning of the year. They split that series. They played for number 17 Virginia Tech. They've had teams they played ranked against like Georgia, Oregon, Stanford, Arizona, like UCLA. Y'all get the picture. They've played a tougher slate of games. So I mean the metrics there are showing that it's 11.1, but you have to kind of question it a little bit here because like okay, is it these metrics are very interesting to see, but I think LSU wins this regional though. They might drop one, but I think they end up taking it. I think they'll probably end up going undefeated. I think their defense is going to do well enough, and I think they'll just get the job done. I just think LSU is just a better softball team, and I think they'll prove it in this regional. What you think, Jalen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll prove it in this regional, and it's crazy because they were the last undefeated team in Division One softball through the first half of the season, and they kind of struggled a little bit, especially when they got into SEC play. And now I think they have a chip on their shoulder too because they were literally, like you said, Chief, were one spot away from automatically hosting a super regional. So Stanford got that last spot, if I'm not mistaken, right there at 8, and the Tigers are right there at 9. So they're going to come in with them. I think the bats will be swinging for them this time around.
It only takes one of the regional hosts falling for you to get in that spot there. At least that's ahead of you, one of the top 8 for sure. Anyway, LSU baseball. Let's talk about them. They're not in that great of position as the softball team was. They could have lost Alabama and they would have been in the tournament. They're fighting to get in this thing, and the curse of that big win against Texas A&M. I predicted they would beat Alabama. They came really close to doing it on Friday and Sunday. Right now their RPI live is at 35. They went down one. Strength of schedule 18. They're 5-11 in quadrant one. They're 6-4. So if the Tigers can get 2 against Ole Miss, I think they make Hoover. If they win one, I think they ended up getting in there automatically. So I think that's in good shape for the Tigers. I think they'll end up getting that win. Or if Missouri loses, either way, they would secure it. Looking at the standings, how they are right now, LSU baseball is definitely going to be one of those um, that we're keeping an eye on here. The top 12 right under 10-17. Look, Missouri loses one because Missouri's 8-19 or 8-19 right now in SEC. LSU's 10-17. They said 13 conference wins is the magic number. If they sweep Ole Miss, which could very well happen because their RPI is 24. If they would sweep Ole Miss, they would be at that magic number 13. I think they will end up picking up a win in the SEC tournament, though, LSU. I think they might actually do what the softball team did and actually end up winning 1 or 2 games here. LSU's they got their backs against the wall and they know that. So it's a young team this year. it could very well change their luck. Now Auburn, they're out of it. They're not they're 4 games back from LSU. They could very well maybe jump up to get to that other spot there, but they would need a sweep and they would need Missouri to lose 2 games. I don't think Missouri's going to drop. Um, that's kind of the thing there. Missouri themselves, they're fighting to get in the SEC tournament here to play Mississippi State, number 16 in the country. So it's gonna be tough on whoever gets in that point there. LSU pitching, the bats haven't been there. It's really been the thing here, and people want to point at the pitching for LSU. Earlier in the year, yes, it was the pitching. They were getting hammered, just. But 3-4, that's a pitching duel right there. 6-3, 7-8. I mean, the pitching kind of gave away late. If they could have won that Friday game, they had a good chance. They gave it away late in that one. 3 runs in the eighth, 2 runs in the ninth, put Alabama over. And that it's just, man, they just can't catch a break. That's just the thing. They just can't catch a break, LSU. But they only gave up 7 hits in that Sunday game. Alabama had a 3-run inning in the second, 1 run in the third. And they didn't score anything. LSU did until the eighth. They got to find ways to get runs across LSU. That's the way. That's just the thing there. The bats have to come alive for the Tigers for them to actually have a good chance of like getting to that regional and being able to present themselves like that. So, what do you think about LSU baseball? You think they make it in, Jalen, to the NCAA tournament?
Um, I think that they will make it in, Chief. I think they need to finish the regular season off strong by at least winning this series against Ole Miss. I'm not saying they will, but they need to. And either go into Hoover and make some noise in the SEC tournament. I mean, they can make a deep run, and you never know. The committee might be like, okay, the defending national champions. All right, we see the kind of team they have. They have these certain quad wins, and I mean they could slip right into the tournament. And I want to see them in there. And I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but I love seeing a defending champion get into it the next year to defend their title. So in case they do lose, a new champion is crowned. But the way this team started at the beginning of the year, we were like, oh no, there's no way because they're winning against these subpar, I don't call them subpar team, but not great teams. And then when the great teams started coming into the mix, they really just weren't winning through the back end of the season. So, I mean, in the SEC play, being 10-17 is not the best record, but overall, I think this Tigers team will get into the tournament, Chief. I think they will.
It's gonna have to be. I think they have to play at least 2 or 3 games in the SEC tournament for them to actually get in there. And I'm not talking about like because RPI rate is gonna go up for sure because you're gonna have if Ole Miss they're toward the bottom, they're at 25 or 26 or somewhere right there. Don't fact check me on that, but they're up there in that top 30. If LSU can get a if LSU can win 2 or 3 against Ole Miss, that RPI is gonna shoot up obviously. And I want to see what let's see what Warren Nolan has for predictor because um I didn't really bother. The predictors are it's weird. It's just kind of like a good play tool. If they would win, it would move them up to 932. It has them winning 2 or 3 against Ole Miss, which I think is fair. I think that will actually end up happening. I kind of agree with the predictor on that one. Then they do take 2 or 3. It's in Baton Rouge. Tigers play better at home anyway. Um, so if you're they would finish 7-12, which would put them at a conference record of 12-18. Now that only puts you having to win one conference game. I know we talk about 13 conference wins, which been the precedent has been set for so many years. So if you look at this here, the Tigers will have to find out a way to win that and put themselves in a good position to win. So it's gonna be tough on them to see what's gonna happen here. So um we're gonna look at the SEC tournament bracket and see how the seeds are gonna play out here real quick. So everybody can follow along with us here. Let's look at these championships here, baseball. So the bracket is LSU will be playing as a 12 seed. They'll be playing number 5 seed, which if you're looking at the SEC as it currently sits here, where is the SEC at on here? There it is. If you look at the way it sits right here, if they would make it in as 12 seed, the 5th seed would either be, depending on how it fit, either Georgia or Mississippi State. So the Tigers would have to win at least one against either one of those teams here. So I would rather take on, if I was the Tigers, I would rather take on Mississippi State if I was having to pick out the two. I think Mississippi State is definitely a more winnable game. So, anything you want to say, Jalen, before we get off here?
I just want to say good luck to LSU Tiger softball, Baton Rouge Regional. Hope they get far, and I'm hoping that LSU baseball can make their way into the tournament and defend their title. So go Tigers.
All right, Jalen, what you think? Would you rather face Georgia or Mississippi State if you were LSU?
I would rather face Mississippi State.
That's fair.
I think it's a better matchup for them than
Yeah.
the Georgia team.
All right. Thank you for tuning into the Fishbowl Radio. We hope you have a great, wonderful day or night whenever you're listening to this podcast. And we'll see you here next time on the Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.